السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله، فإن الله تعالى مع المتقين. وبعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in a surah which is not strange to any of us, and a surah which is repeated every single day in every single salah that the Muslim prays, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us that there are three camps. There are three camps of people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructs us to say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, guide us to the straight path. Sirat al-ladhina an'amta alayhim, the path of those whom you have bestowed upon them your blessing. That's camp number one. Camp number two, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ, not those who have earned your anger. And camp number three, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ, and not those who have become lost, have gone astray. And the ulama of Islam, the scholars of Quran, they are in agreement that as-sirat al-mustaqim is the path of action based upon knowledge, understanding. Al-ilm wal-amal, two important components. And the most important component of ilm is what? Ikhlas, sincerity for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what makes the first camp. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us through instruction, i.e. instructing us to ask for guidance. He also informs us that the people who are saved in this life, i.e. saved from the torment of dunya and akhirah, are the people of who? The people of knowledge and action based upon knowledge. Camp number two, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ. Who are they? The ulama, they are in agreement that these individuals are those who have knowledge but no action. Knowledge but no action. And some of the ulama, the mufassirun, they would speak about the camps by giving examples. So for example, they would say as-sirat al-mustaqim, it's the methodology of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. It's the methodology of Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala an, as-siddiqeen. It's the methodology of so and so. They would give examples. But the underlying qualities that make up these people, what? Knowledge and action. And some of the ulama, they will give examples. غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ, they are these particular people. But what's the underlying issue with these people? They have knowledge, but they don't have what? Action. يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about past nations who received the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam in their lifetime. They know him like they know their own sons, but they refuse to follow. Why? They have knowledge, no action. And the third camp, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ, those who are lost. Ad-dal is literally the one who has lost his way. Ad-dala is the lost sheep, the lost herds animal. Ad-dal is the one who has action but no knowledge. Like someone who's walking around in the dark. They don't know where they're going. They don't know which direction they're going. They don't know their forward from their backwards, their right from their left. But they're walking. These are the three camps, underlying qualities of the three camps of people in this life. Those who have knowledge and action, those who have knowledge but no action, and those who have no knowledge but they have action. And for us, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us the knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us access to knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted most Muslims the foundational understanding of what Islam is. If you were to ask most Muslims in the masjid now, right now, what are the 5 pillars of Islam? They'll tell you. They will say the shahada, the salah, the siyam, the zakah, hajj, etc. But, and this is the point I'm going to come to later inshallah, but unfortunately many Muslims have no action. Many Muslims have no amal. Many Muslims know they should pray but they don't pray. But to get back to the point, غَيْرِ الْمَغْضُوبِ عَلَيْهِمْ, those who have knowledge and no action. وَلَا الضَّالِينَ, those who have no knowledge but action. 3 camps. And if we look at Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us about people, categorizes people for us, mankind categorizes them for us, i.e. us, into 3 categories but from a different perspective. The first, based upon what makes the people. If you're a believer, it means you're a person of knowledge and action. If you're a disbeliever, either you have knowledge and no action, or you have no knowledge and action. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about 3 camps in Surah Al-Baqarah. The first camp, the people of Iman. Hudan lil muttaqeen, that the book Al-Quran is guidance for who? The people of taqwa, al-muttaqeen. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes their qualities. The ones that believe in the ghaib, the ones that establish the prayer, the ones that give zakah, the ones that believe in that which has come to you, O Muhammad alayhi salatu salam, and that which came before you. And it's not belief that has been rationalized, which is a problem of our time today. It's not belief which is born from rationalization, no. It's blind belief in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the fact that it comes from Allah is enough of a rational reason to believe in it. As Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala said, when some of the inhabitants of Quraysh came to him and said, have you heard what your companion says? He says he's traveled from Mecca to Jerusalem in one night and traveled up to the heavens. What did Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala say, which earned him the title of As-Siddiq? He said, if he said it, then I believe it. And I believe that which is more strange than this anyway, that he receives revelation from the heavens. So why wouldn't I believe it? That's the attitude of the believer. The one who believes in the ghaib, they don't question how, what, why. They say what? آمنا كل من عند ربنا. All of it comes from our Lord. They have yaqeen, certainty. That's the first camp. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about the second camp. Who are the second camp? وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, those who, from the people, if you are to speak to them, أَأَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, you are to warn them, speak to them, bring them the evidences, or you are to leave them, they're not going to believe. Why? Because their hearts have been sealed, their eyes have been blinded, their ears have been plugged. They have eyes, but they do not have perception. They can see, but they cannot perceive. They can hear, but they cannot understand. They have intelligence, but they cannot comprehend. Why? Because real comprehension is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Real sight is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The average lay person looks at a column and sees a pile of bricks that have been fashioned and shaped. An architect looks at the column and sees something completely different. Why? Because he has khibra, understanding. Likewise, the person whom has been given perception by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the nur of Iman, the light of Iman, the nur of Hidayah in his heart, a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He looks at the world and he sees the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence. But the disbeliever looks to the world and sees the world alone. Like the layperson who looks at the column and sees a pile of bricks that have been shaped and fashioned. Insignificant. The non-believer is the second category of people. The third category of people, and perhaps this one is the worst, the ones who say that they believe, but really they are hiding in their hearts the filth and corruption of hypocrisy. Liars. Liars. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us about this camp that they believe themselves to be fooling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the believers. I.e., they are carrying out the action of a person who is trying to fool Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the believers. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in reality they are only fooling themselves, but they cannot feel it. وَلَكِنْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They cannot feel it. They don't realize that they are only fooling themselves. They have begun to believe their own lies, their own hypocrisy. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us there are three camps. The camp of Iman, the camp of disbelief, kufr, and the camp of nifaq. And the camp of nifaq, they are similar to al-maghdubi alayhim, those who have earned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's anger. Why? Because they have access to knowledge, but they do not act upon it. Perhaps some of them, you can say, even have knowledge. There are some munafiqun, they are more learned about Islam than the believers themselves. There are some, but they don't have any action. And so today, in the day and age of identities, where we like to ascribe ourselves to camps and to colors and to ethnicities and to race, and sometimes we find ourselves on either side of the fence of a gender war, an ideological gender war sometimes. In the day and age where we like to ascribe ourselves to tribe, think about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala categorizes us. Either we are people of Iman, we are people of kufr, wal-'iyadhu billah, or we are people of nifaq. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala categorizes us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Prophet alayhi salam, he says, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَنظُرُ إِلَى سُوَرِكُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not look to your shapes, nor to your sizes, your bodies, but He looks at what? To your quloob, to your hearts. That's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking, the heart. And in a variation of the hadith, وَإِلَىٰ أَعْمَالِكُمْ, and to your actions, your hearts, i.e. intentions, and your actions. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, who do I want to be raised with? I have to ask myself the question, who do I want to be raised with on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Because in the dunya, some people, they affiliate themselves. And when I say people, I mean Muslims. Some Muslims, they affiliate themselves to color. Some Muslims affiliate themselves to tribe. Some Muslims affiliate themselves to race. White people are my people. Black people are my people. This tribe, they're my people. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, do you want to be raised with your people? Or do you want to be raised with Ahl al-Islam, Ahl al-Iman, the people of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Who do you want to be raised with? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not raise us based upon color, based upon tribe, based upon nation, based upon race. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not see virtue for one tribe over another. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, دَعُوهَا فَإِنَّهَا نَتِنَا. Tribalism, racism, nationalism. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, leave these things. They are foul and rotten. foul and rotten. And if you affiliate yourself to a color or a race or a tribe, just look to the non-Muslims from the people that you ascribe yourself to. If you look at yourself and say, white people are my people, black people are my people, this tribe, they're my people. Just look to the non-Muslims from amongst those people and ask yourself, are those my people? If you affiliate yourself to those people over the people of Islam, you have a sickness in your heart. You have a sickness in your heart. If you look to those people and you affiliate yourself to those people, you say, those are my people, i.e., I want guidance for them. That's different. That's different. But when it comes to virtue, when it comes to favors, when it comes to status, position, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us, إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. The best of you with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is who? Those of you who have piety, taqwa. The best of you in taqwa is the best of you with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is the reality. This is the truth. If you find in your heart that you believe a tribe, a nation, a race, a people to be better than others based upon color or tribe or lineage or anything else, you have in your heart jahiliyyah. You have in your heart jahiliyyah. And this is contradictory to Islam. And Islam is not simply about the ritual worship that we are supposed to engage in. No. Islam is about purification of the heart. So do not justify your diseases. Fix yourself. Do not justify your diseases. Fix yourself. Islam came to unite us. وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا. Hold firmly to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us as people of Iman. Oh, you who believe. The Arab of you, the white of you, the black of you, this tribe of you, that tribe of you, the male of you, the female of you. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, I know who I want to be raised with. The people of Islam and the people of Iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make that the case for all of us. I don't want to be raised with the people of color or a tribe or a nation. No, I want to be raised with the ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. That's the only affiliation that we should have in our hearts. As for tribalism, nationalism, racism, all of these things, they are jahiliyyah. They are jahiliyyah. We can use these ties if there is a maslahah, there's a benefit for Islam, nothing else. For Islam and nothing else. And so whilst we cry for the state of the ummah, cry over the state of our hearts. Because this tribalism and racism and ethnicism and genderism and any other ism that we find in our hearts today is a contributing factor. And in fact, perhaps a major contributing factor to the situation that we find ourselves in today. And it's difficult to work on the hearts. That's why we point fingers externally. We don't point them internally. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وحده وصلوات ربي وسلامه على أشرف الأنبياء ومن تبعه وبعد. أهل الإيمان, they are the people of ilm and amal. Every single person knows the 5 pillars of Islam. And the most important of those after the shahadatain is as-salah, the prayer. The Prophet ﷺ, he informed us, the one who does not pray has imitated the non-Muslims. The one who does not pray will be raised on Yawm al-Qiyamah and questioned about his salah before anything else, therefore he won't get past his salah. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَهُ اللَّهِ. When Umar radiallahu anhu had been stabbed and was facing death, every time he gained consciousness, what did he say? As-salah, as-salah. La deena liman la salata lahu. The prayer, the prayer. There is no deen for the one who has no prayer. And unfortunately today, many of us, when it comes to our salah, we slack. We slack. Pick yourself up and pray. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ اعْبُدُوا رَبَّكُمْ الَّذِي خَلَقَكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لعلكم تتقون الذي جعل لكم الأرض فراشا والسماء بناء وأنزل من السماء ماء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us to worship Him and reminds us of the fact that He created us. He made this place livable for us. He provides us with everything that we have. Everything we have comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then I can't find the time to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I can't find the time to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from people of salah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rid us of the tribalism and nationalism and racism and the filth that we find in our hearts. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وارض اللهم عن أبي بكر وعن عمر وعن عثمان وعن علي وعن سائر الصحابة أجمعين. اللهم تب علينا واعف عنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا يا مجيب الدعوات وطهر قلوبنا من الدنس يا رب العالمين. اللهم طهرنا إنك أنت مطهر القلوب وأقم الصلاة.